Hi everyone, it's Sal again with another video. Today we will talk about PopGoToRoom. Now PopGoToRoom is the method you'll use to have a 3D object transport you to another room. In my demo video, you saw I took this arcade poster that I put on the wall, and very fittingly it had an arcade on it, and when I clicked on it, it took me to the arcade room. It's a pretty obvious use case. And some other things I had thought of was using these as maybe favorites. So maybe I had a poster of Williams and it takes me to a room filled with Williams tables, or a poster full of 80s and it brings me to 80s tables, etc., etc. But the real power of this will be to see what your creativity is and what types of 3D objects you may put in your rooms and where they'll take your end users. One of the other cool things I think is that ability to use your, in VR, use your pointers to kind of explore the room. So, who knows what people will create, but you could very well imagine there could be little Easter eggs in there that you could find by searching around the room that then will lead you off to other things, maybe a hidden room. But again, in my case, it was very simple, very obvious. It was an arcade poster to an arcade room. So let's take a look at how that works. I have the arcade poster selected over here, and you'll notice if we come over to the outliner view, it is also selected. Now, if it wasn't, I've said this in the previous videos, if you bring your cursor into the outliner view area and you press the period key, it will auto-select whatever 3D object you have in this view over here. So it'll jump you to that spot. Now, another point about outliner in Blender, you'll notice these little white bins. They're scene collections. You can create those to organize your models. So what I did, you'll notice I have the different popper methods, and I organized the models under those methods that that are using those methods, so that I can very quickly show you and jump to the things that I'm trying to do. So in this case, again, if you watched the previous video on Pop Launch, you saw that there's a naming convention. All of this is built around naming conventions of your 3D models. Since PopperVR has not been released yet, and even when it is released, the wiki, as many of you already know, if you use Pinup Popper, the wiki is kind of the single source of truth, as it were. So we always want to come back here and check out what additions Dave may have added to the wiki. So in this case, again, we are going to use PopGoToRoom, and you'll see the syntax of this method here. So it's PopGoToRoom with an underscore, then the room name, in this case it's Vegas, and then a trailing underscore. And I've mentioned this before, you always want that trailing underscore because depending what you're doing inside of Blender, sometimes Blender will append to the end of these names a series of numbers. So the trailing underscore enables Dave and PopperVR to parse off that piece and find just the name of the room, and that name has to match the name of the file that's in the models folder. Okay? In our PopperVR system, which is really deployed or installed inside of your pinup system, you'll have a PopperVR folder. Within there, there's a models folder, and you'll have a default model that it'll come with. We've been using my room model, and I have one more room model as an example for today's video. But any rooms you create will get put into this models folder, and then in VR, when you use the menu drop down, you'll be able to jump right to that room. And of course, just like the example we're doing today, you can create a 3D object and have it jump to that room as well. So let's do that. I have in the room, if I can rotate around a little bit, I have a door. So I think it seems pretty fitting that I make the door go somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the door. I'm going to come over here. Oh, it has not selected anything in Outliner. So let's go back to Outliner here. I'm going to press the period key, and there we go. This portion of the door is called box 001. Not overly intuitive, but again, because I selected it and then I pressed period in Outliner, it helped me find it. So all we're going to do is we're going to rename this Pop Go to Room. We're going to do an underscore, and then if you notice when I showed you the models folder, I had an example room there, and I'm going to do a trailing underscore. So now I moved this object with pop go to room underscore example underscore under my pop go to room just to organize it. It doesn't really mean anything other than it just helps me organize things. And I'll go and do File, Export, GLTF. We are doing it in GLB format, the compiled format, and I'm going to replace my room. So I'm going to let it overwrite that. If you're not doing something specifically in Popper, right, with the pinball machine and all of that, what you could do in your testing, and what I do, is I launch PopperVR directly. I'll just launch it, and you'll see I'll be able to go and click on this door, because again, I'm not launching any tables or anything. I'm really just jumping from room to room. So in some cases, this can be very useful to not have to start up all of Popper and then launch it and go into it. Just a quick tip. Okay, so we're back in my default room, and here's that arcade poster, which would take us to the arcade. And here's our door. Now previously, when I would interact with this door, my pointers would stay red, but now they are green because this is clickable, right? Because we attached a method to it. So if I click this, we are going to be transported to the example room. So here we are, we're in yet another virtual room. And of course, if I click on the menu option, I can go back to my default room, which is just called Room, and click Go to Room, and it magically transports us back. One final note before I let you go, the reason why my monitors are doing a little bit of a mirroring effect here is because, like I mentioned, I just launched PopperVR outside of Popper. I did not launch it like I normally would as a user by launching Pinup Popper and then going into PopperVR. I simply launched the PopperVR EXE so that I could quickly run this test for you. And as you're testing things, you may find yourself doing the same. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please stay tuned for more videos where I'll continue to walk through and provide examples of the different PopperVR methods and provide tips and tricks wherever I can. Just keep checking the YouTube channel and the playlist, or I'll post to the Facebook group as well as Discord. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.